Have you ever felt it the moment when the world suddenly shifts around you, when people who ignored you, doubted you, or even tried to block your path start watching your every move, trying to understand how you rose while they stayed the same? Chosen ones, this is your divine moment, because Allah has begun elevating you in ways invisible to the eyes of the world. And now even the most powerful, influential, and secretive forces are quietly competing for a seat beside you, not out of love, but out of recognition that your destiny is guided, protected, and unstoppable. Today, we're revealing the 7 powerful lessons every chosen one must know when the elite begin their silent bidding war lessons that will show you why Allah's favor cannot be bought, why your presence is a force no one can replicate, and why the ones truly meant to stand beside you will arrive by divine decree alone. Get ready, because what you are about to understand will change the way you see your path, your influence, and your mission in this world. From the earliest moments of your journey, even before the world understood your purpose, there were eyes watching, not ordinary eyes, but the eyes of those who sense destiny, the elite who are trained to recognize power, influence, and alignment with Allah's divine will. And what they immediately saw in you was unmistakable, a mark that could not be faked, a presence that could not be replicated, and a trajectory that could not be stopped, because Allah does not raise someone without leaving signs that the sincere can perceive. Every trial you endured, every door that seemed closed, every moment of patience under pressure was a divine signature written on your soul, and the world may have questioned you, laughed at your timing, or doubted your abilities, but the chosen could see what you carried, the resilience that came not from human effort but from divine guidance, the clarity of vision that only comes when Allah places His mark on a heart, and the silent aura of protection and blessing surrounding your every step. And when the elite begin to take notice, when they start quietly positioning themselves, it is not vanity or luck, it is the unmistakable recognition that Allah has touched you, that you are being prepared for a mission far beyond their imagination, and that even before anyone else can measure your value, the ones who understand the language of destiny know that standing against you is dangerous, standing beside you is strategic, and that every moment of your unseen struggle has been the making of a presence so potent that the world will eventually have no choice but to acknowledge it, not as coincidence, not as timing, but as the deliberate, precise, unstoppable work of Allah Himself. As Allah begins to elevate you, something subtle but dangerous unfolds around you, because not everyone who draws closer is coming with sincerity in their heart. And this is a test that only chosen ones experience, the moment when people stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as a source, a gateway, a key, a vessel of barakah, wisdom, protection, and unseen favor that Allah has placed upon you. And the elite, especially, are trained to recognize advantage more than authenticity, so they study your calm under pressure, your clarity in confusion, your doors opening without you asking, and they conclude that what surrounds you is valuable, but what they often desire is not your heart, your values, or your sacrifices, but the divine access Allah granted you through obedience, patience, and sincerity. They want proximity to the outcomes Allah gives you, without carrying the discipline, humility, and submission that produce them. And this is why Allah sharpens your discernment in this season, because closeness without sincerity drains the soul, and access without honor corrupts the mission, and Allah allows you to see who celebrates your presence, versus who benefits from your positioning, who respects your boundaries, versus who feels entitled to your light. And through this, He teaches you that being chosen does not mean being available to everyone, and being elevated does not mean being exposed, because Allah never gave you favor to be consumed by others, but to be protected, stewarded, and used in alignment with His will. So while many will seek what Allah gave you, only a few will truly honor who Allah made you to be. And those are the ones Allah Himself sends, not the ones who arrive with hidden calculations behind their smiles. When Allah begins to elevate a chosen servant, the shift is subtle yet undeniable, and even those who appear powerful, influential, and untouchable sense it first, because the energy of divine alignment cannot be hidden. And what terrifies them most is the realization that the future is moving without them, that the path Allah has carved for you is unfolding precisely according to His will, while their schemes, control, and status may no longer guarantee inclusion, recognition, or relevance. And this fear drives even the elite into silent desperation, making them maneuver, strategize, and compete for proximity to you, hoping that by standing near your favor they might participate in a destiny that was never meant for them to own. Yet Allah, in His infinite wisdom, allows you to witness this, not as arrogance, but as a test and a sign of your elevation, because those who panic at your rise reveal their hearts, intentions, and values, and the contrast becomes crystal clear between those who are drawn by envy, fear, or ambition, and those who are genuinely aligned with Allah's plan. And in this, you learn a profound truth. Your elevation is never defined by human approval or alignment. It is defined by Allah's decree, His timing, and His precision. And when the world begins to scramble, the ones meant to walk beside you will do so naturally, effortlessly, without the anxiety of competition, while those who fear being left behind will exhaust themselves in attempts to secure what Allah never intended for them, ultimately teaching you patience, discernment, and reliance on the one who truly orchestrates every step of your journey. When Allah begins to prepare a chosen servant for elevation, the process is never merely about external recognition, status, or the opening of doors in the world. It is about the purification and steadfastness of the heart, because before the blessing can expand, before influence can multiply, before the mission that only you can fulfill is entrusted fully, Allah must ensure that your loyalty remains unshakable, untainted by admiration, fear, or worldly ambition. And this is why the elite, the powerful, and the influential often appear in your life at these moments, vying for attention, proximity, or alliance, because they sense the shift in divine favor and want access to what Allah has placed around you. Yet the real test is not theirs, it is yours. For in these moments, every offer, every smile, every subtle gesture is designed to reveal the condition of your heart, whether your obedience is rooted in Him alone, or whether it can be swayed by the temptation of human recognition, comfort, or gain. Allah tests you with the invisible challenge of patience. When everything around you seems ready to reward you, when opportunities knock, when doors open, when people who were absent in your trials suddenly show interest, and every decision you make becomes a reflection of whether your elevation is built on divine alignment or human validation. And the greatest part of this test is that it happens quietly, in ways unseen by the world, yet fully visible to Allah, because the unseen intentions and hidden desires are what He weighs, not public accolades or material gain. And through this, you learn the power of discernment, the strength of self-restraint, and the clarity that comes when you refuse what is not aligned with Allah's plan, even if it appears advantageous, because expansion without loyalty leads to compromise, distraction, and misalignment. But loyalty in the quiet trials produces authority, barakah, and protection that cannot be shaken, ensuring that when your elevation manifests fully, it is accompanied by wisdom, clarity, and divine security, and that every step of your journey, every seat beside you, and every connection that is meant to be yours arrives in perfect timing, while those who sought access without honor are revealed, so that you understand deeply that being chosen is never about chasing recognition or influence. It is about being faithful when no one else is watching, and that faithfulness alone is the bridge to the destiny Allah has written for you, the path that no one can replicate, and the elevation that no one can take away. One of the most misunderstood yet most formidable qualities of a chosen servant is the power of silence, the strength in restraint, and the unshakable calm that emanates from a heart anchored solely in Allah. Because in a world obsessed with noise, validation, and reaction, those who are elevated by divine decree move differently, not because they are arrogant, nor because they lack concern, but because they understand that their value, their mission, and their protection come from Allah alone. And this very calm, this quiet assurance, this refusal to explain, argue, or justify themselves becomes unbearable to the elite, the powerful, and those who rely on influence and manipulation to control outcomes, because they cannot measure or touch the unseen force that guides you, and they cannot comprehend the protection, guidance, and barakah that surrounds a soul chosen by Allah. And this is where the desperation begins. The same people who once ignored you, dismissed you, or plotted against you are suddenly unsettled by your stillness, by your dignity, by the absence of reaction, by the refusal to chase approval, and by the unwavering faith that Allah is sufficient, because your silence is louder than their schemes, clearer than their words, and more powerful than any attempt to coerce or pressure you. And they do not understand that in your quiet, Allah is moving unseen forces on your behalf, shifting circumstances, opening doors, and redirecting destinies in ways they cannot influence, cannot replicate, and cannot stop. And this desperation grows because the more they try to provoke, to question, to manipulate, or to gain access to your energy, the more evident it becomes that your elevation is anchored in divine alignment, not human effort, and your path cannot be negotiated or bargained for. And here lies the true beauty and power of silence. It serves as a mirror, reflecting their dependence on control, influence, and validation while revealing your unwavering reliance on Allah alone. And it becomes a test for them as well as for you, because in the discomfort they feel, in the frustration they exhibit, and in the schemes they plot, Allah is showing you who truly belongs in your presence, and who is only drawn to your barakah, who approaches with genuine respect and sincerity, and who is desperate to exploit, manipulate, or ride the waves of your rise, and your silence protects you from the latter, safeguards your mission, and signals to the world that your alignment is not with humans but with Allah. And the desperation it provokes is not a reflection of your weakness but of your divine authority, the invisible force that surrounds chosen ones, the unshakable aura of someone who has endured, persevered, and remained faithful while the world doubted, dismissed, and opposed. And when the elite scramble, maneuver, and compete for access, it is a testament to the power of divine favor, because nothing human can replicate what Allah bestows, nothing worldly can threaten what He protects, and nothing in this universe can destabilize a soul whose silence is anchored in trust, obedience, and patience with Him. And this is why silence is not empty. It is not passivity. It is a weapon, a shield, a signal, and a statement that the path you walk is chosen, guarded, and unstoppable. And while others despair and scramble, your calm, your patience, and your unshakable reliance on Allah reveal the truth that only those aligned with sincerity, loyalty, and divine purpose are meant to share in your journey, and all others, despite their desperation, will eventually fall away revealing themselves as opportunists, pretenders, or distracted souls. And in this, Allah teaches the chosen servant that silence is power, restraint is authority, and patience is the ultimate weapon in a world that does not understand the unseen forces guiding those He has marked for greatness, making the desperation of others the clearest proof that your path, your rise, and your destiny are secured by the one who never fails, the one who never forgets, and the one who always elevates those who are faithful, steadfast, and loyal to Him alone. As Allah elevates His chosen servant, one of the most critical and overlooked truths becomes painfully clear. Not every presence, not every relationship, not every person who approaches is meant to remain by your side, because the journey of the chosen is unique, solitary in its preparation, sacred in its trajectory, and the path Allah has written is not measured by popularity, approval, or the number of companions, but by the quality of hearts aligned with sincerity, loyalty, and divine purpose. And this is why Allah allows certain individuals to enter your life, to appear at the right moment, to offer proximity, alliance, or opportunity, only to test your discernment, patience, and wisdom, because what seems like a blessing on the surface may conceal distraction, corruption, or compromise, and what appears as support may mask hidden agendas, envy, or ulterior motives. And the elite, the powerful, and even ordinary people are quick to recognize that proximity to a chosen one brings influence, access, and barakah. Yet Allah's wisdom dictates that not everyone who desires to be near you is permitted to stay, because the energy surrounding a servant of Allah is sacred, and those who do not belong will inevitably disturb, dilute, or disrupt the purity of the mission. And this truth becomes even more evident when doors open mysteriously, when people approach strategically, when the world seems eager to draw close, yet the heart knows that alignment is not measured by desire, but by divine permission. And here Allah teaches you patience, discernment, and restraint, because the elevation of a chosen one is not meant to be crowded, it is meant to be guarded, stewarded, and preserved in such a way that only those whose hearts and intentions are aligned with divine purpose remain, and those who are unworthy will gradually reveal themselves. Through impatience, through entitlement, through hidden ambitions, or through lack of faith. And this revelation is itself a blessing, because it spares the chosen from potential harm, betrayal, or distraction. And it ensures that every connection, every alliance, every seat beside you is intentional, precise, and protected by Allah's wisdom. And as the elite, the influential, and those who were previously absent begin to compete for proximity, for access, or for influence, you learn to watch silently, to observe the true intentions, to read the hearts, and to understand that elevation is never about accommodating everyone, but about creating a sacred space where Allah's plan can manifest fully, where the mission can proceed without interference, and where the chosen servant can walk with clarity, authority, and peace, knowing that divine alignment, not human approval, determines who stands beside them. And this separation, this filtering, this divine orchestration, though invisible to the eyes of the world, is one of the most powerful protections a chosen one can experience, because it ensures that every influence in your orbit is intentional, every voice is purposeful, and every step forward is unhindered by the agendas of those who are not meant to partake in the elevation Allah has ordained. And while many may feel entitled, desperate, or anxious to claim a seat, those who truly belong arrive naturally, effortlessly, and in perfect timing, their loyalty, sincerity, and faithfulness already established in Allah's decree. And those who are left outside, despite their schemes, manipulation, or attempts to position themselves, are revealed for what they are, leaving the chosen one with a sacred clarity, a protected journey, and a heart at peace, because in the end, every seat beside you is not a right, it is a trust, a blessing, and a divine alignment that Allah orchestrates perfectly, and understanding this allows the chosen to walk boldly, freely, and unshakably, knowing that elevation is never about filling every space, but about preserving the integrity of the mission, the sanctity of the path, and the purity of the heart, so that when the full weight of destiny arrives, the chosen servant stands surrounded only by what Allah intended, guarded by loyalty, aligned with purpose, and elevated beyond what the world could ever influence or diminish. As a chosen servant walks the path of destiny, one of the most liberating yet profound truths to realize is that Allah has already determined who will stand beside you, who will accompany you through trials, who will celebrate your victories with sincerity, and who will depart when the alignment is no longer theirs to maintain. Because in the tapestry of divine planning, every relationship, every alliance, every connection is orchestrated with precision beyond human comprehension, and no force, no manipulation, no scheme, and no desperation can alter the people Allah has decreed for you to encounter or keep close. And this realization removes the burden of seeking approval, chasing companionship, or fearing abandonment, because those meant to walk with you will arrive in their appointed time, with hearts aligned, intentions pure, and loyalty unwavering, while those who are not meant to remain will naturally reveal themselves through impatience, through entitlement, through manipulation, or through absence when consistency is required. And the beauty of this divine orchestration is that it spares the chosen from human error, betrayal, and distraction, allowing the mission, the purpose, and the divine plan to proceed unhindered. It is this certainty that gives the chosen servant unshakable calm amidst chaos, because even when the world competes for proximity, elevates its influence, or desperately seeks your attention, you understand that no human effort can replace what Allah has already written. No flattery can earn a seat beside you if it is not divinely sanctioned, and no scheme can infiltrate the sacred alignment that Allah has designed. And this truth manifests in countless ways. Doors open to those whose hearts are loyal, paths align for those whose intentions are pure, support arrives at exactly the right moment, and protection surrounds the soul in ways invisible to the world, but undeniable in the unfolding of destiny. And the desperation of the elite, the powerful, and the opportunistic becomes evident because they realize that proximity cannot be bought, influence cannot be forced, and control cannot change what Allah has decreed. And while they scramble, maneuver, and attempt to position themselves near your rise, you remain grounded, patient, and unwavering, because your awareness is anchored in divine knowledge, your steps guided by unseen forces, and your trust placed in the one who orchestrates everything with perfect wisdom, timing, and justice. And in this, Allah teaches you not only the value of loyalty, discernment, and patience, but also the power of surrendering human concerns, expectations, and attachments to the one who never errs, never forgets, and never delays when it comes to what truly matters. And the clarity that comes from this realization is unparalleled because it removes the anxiety of trying to control others, the fear of being abandoned, and the temptation to force alignment where it does not belong. And it replaces all of that with profound peace, deep confidence, and unshakable authority, because the chosen servant knows that every person who belongs in their orbit is already marked. Every influence that is beneficial is already in place, and every obstacle that must be removed has already been accounted for by Allah's wisdom. And this understanding transforms the way a chosen one moves through the world, no longer anxious, no longer chasing validation, no longer negotiating proximity or loyalty, because all that truly matters has already been written, already aligned, and already secured. And those who remain are pure in intention, steadfast in loyalty, and fully attuned to the divine mission, while those who are left behind reveal themselves through their absence, impatience, or hidden agendas. And this revelation, though it may feel harsh to human understanding, is a mercy because it protects the soul, safeguards the mission, and preserves the sanctity of the journey, ensuring that when the full weight of destiny arrives, the chosen servant stands surrounded only by what Allah intended, elevated beyond distraction, aligned beyond human interference, and supported by hearts whose loyalty, sincerity, and faithfulness are as unshakable as the one who orchestrated it all. And in this profound truth, the chosen one finds ultimate freedom, peace, and power, because knowing that Allah has already decided who stands with you removes doubt, dissolves fear, and illuminates the path with divine clarity, revealing that elevation, influence, and authority are not earned through manipulation, competition, or human approval, but through obedience, sincerity, and alignment with the one who has written every chapter, placed every person in their rightful place, and guaranteed that the journey of the chosen servant unfolds exactly as it was destined to, leaving the rest to the mercy, justice, and perfect timing of Allah, who never fails, never forgets, and never overlooks those He has chosen. Chosen ones, as you reflect on these lessons, remember this truth above all. The world may scramble, compete, and even despair to secure proximity to you, but your elevation is not measured by human recognition, influence, or access. It is measured by Allah alone, by His decree, His timing, and His perfect plan. The elite may launch their silent bidding wars, and the powerful may maneuver to stand beside you, but the seats next to you, the paths that open before you, and the alliances that endure are already determined by Allah, and no human scheme can alter what He has written. So walk boldly in your purpose, with patience in your heart, loyalty in your soul, and silence as your shield, because your presence is a force of divine barakah that cannot be replicated, bought, or stolen, and those who are meant to stand with you will arrive naturally, effortlessly, and in perfect alignment with Allah's will. Let this truth guide your steps, guard your heart, and anchor your trust, because you are chosen, protected, and elevated beyond what the world can understand. And when the dust settles, when the competition fades, and when the world finally realizes what they have been witnessing, you will be standing not by their approval, not by their schemes, but by the unmistakable power of Allah's favor, unstoppable, unshakable, and unmistakably destined for greatness.